Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I hope you all are doing fine. Today we'll be talking about the vascular supply of brain. That means mainly the arterial supply. Okay. So brain, the gross part is done, isn't it? The gross part, the surfaces, the pores, the parts, different parts, it's done, isn't it?
Yes,
No, sir.
It's not yet done. Okay. Which
no.
part of the brain is done? I mean, till now, what is done in brain? Brain
The
as such.
meninges and the CSF.
Meninges,
The
CSF.
introduction part.
Okay, meninges, CSF, the surfaces and all that is taken. Cerebrum, cerebellum, the midbrain.
Yes,
No,
yes, sir, the
Huh?
introduction part.
The introduction part, is that
No, no,
taken?
sir.
Hmm?
No, no, sir. Only the meninges or CSF covering subbrain.
Meninges and the coverings. Okay. So I'll just,
Only one plus.
no, it can be one class only, but see, if you say, okay, let us just, I am having some slides, okay. Yeah, I'll just very quickly, okay, just if you see this part, so this area, this whole of this area is the cerebrum, isn't it? This is the cerebrum. Somewhere if I just retract this part, I'll see the midbrain over here. Okay, then pons, then this is the medulla. This is the cerebellum, isn't it? This is the cerebellum. Now, if similarly, if you see, this is where we have taken a section from the middle part. See, the two cerebral hemispheres are fused with each other. I mean, they are connected with each other by few fibers, okay, white fibers, which is known as the, anybody, what is this known as?
Corpus callosum.
This is the corpus callosum, okay. And in the center over here, this area where you are seeing is the part which is known as the diencephalon. Okay, this is the cerebral hemispheres. Developmentally, they develop from a part which is known as telencephalon. The forebrain has got the diencephalon and telencephalon. So this part where the thalamus and the hypothalamus lies is the diencephalon, and the rest of the part is the telencephalon, from where the cerebral hemisphere okay, will develop. Now the cerebral hemisphere, again, if you see, are having different parts. Over here, then somewhere here, okay, the demarcation and all, we will have to, I mean, there will be a separate class. So this is anyone, which lobe is this? This is the frontal lobe, okay.
Frontal lobe.
Yeah, somewhere here is the parietal lobe, this is the temporal lobe, this is the occipital lobe. Now similarly for the lobes, if you see over here, this part comes under the same, this is the medial part, okay. This is a sagittal section and we are looking it from the medial part. We have just dissected the brain into two. So it is known as cerebral hemisphere, that means half of a sphere. So on either side there is half of a sphere, we have cut through the sphere, and this is the area which will represent the frontal lobe. This is the area which will represent the parietal lobe. This is the occipital lobe. Down there, extension, this is the temporal lobe. And the common thing over here is the diencephalon, and these two cerebral hemispheres are fused with each other functionally through this corpus callosum. Okay, this is some space within the cerebral hemispheres, which is known as the lateral ventricle, inside which there is the cerebrospinal fluid. So this is where you can see the inferior aspect of the brain. Again, you see this. These are the two temporal lobes on either side. Posteriorly, this is the occipital lobe. This is the inferior aspect of the frontal lobe on either side. Okay, and this is the area. Okay, if you see over here, if you see this part, this area is the cut end of the brainstem. Brainstem as a whole can be divided into three parts: midbrain, pons, and medulla. So over here we have cut through this area is the midbrain. If you go more down, you'll find the pons and medulla, which has been removed over here. Okay, so this part, have you been taken any class on over here, this part, inferior surface? Anyone? Is it taken earlier?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir. No, sir.
What? Not yet. Okay. So, so this over here, which you see in the inferior surface, this is a nerve, the first cranial nerve. What is that? First cranial nerve? Anyone? First cranial nerve?
Olfactory. Olfactory.
This is the olfactory nerve. From here, the two optic nerve will come. There is the optic chiasma over here, the crossing of the two optic nerves. Okay, then it will become the optic tract and all. So this area, and this is the midbrain. Okay, and then there is a part of the midbrain which runs down like two peduncles, okay, coming down. Now, all these are fibers which are coming from the cerebrum and going to the cerebrum. Okay, the motor and the sensory fibers, they are combining together in the midbrain area, and they will subsequently pass through the pons and the medulla. So this area where these fibers are coming in the midbrain, the part of the midbrain, these are known as the cerebral peduncles. Okay, this and this part is known as the cerebral peduncle. Now, on either side of the cerebral peduncle and the optic chiasma in front, this area is known as the interpeduncular fossa. Okay, this area is known as the interpeduncular fossa. While mentioning you about the CSF and all, they must have mentioned about the interpeduncular cistern. Have you heard that term, interpeduncular cistern? What is a cistern? Anyone? You stop chatting among yourselves, you answer me. What is a cistern? Anyone?
Place where there is collection of
Sir, it's a
fluid.
dilatation.
Now, you see, starting with the supply of the brain, you see, brain needs the continuous blood supply, continuous arterial supply, because it is not having any reserve of its own, any arterial reserve of its own. If you see, it approximately uses 15% of the cardiac output of the body. I mean, the total output of the body, of the heart, it uses 15%. 25% of the total oxygen taken by us. Okay, so this is the minimum amount, okay, of which the brain needs to get functioning. Okay, because and plus there is no reserve as such of for the brain. That's why it's very important that the brain, they will be getting the proper arterial supply. Okay, so I'll just try to make you a little oriented about the arterial supply. It would have been better than you know the surfaces and areas of the brain. Anyway, I'll try my best. So let us just see what are the arteries which will be giving the blood supply, the arterial supply to the brain. Okay, now, so if you see the system of the cerebral arteries in the brain, there are two types. One is cortical system, one is central system. Okay, cortical system, that means it is distributed just superficially over the brain, okay, and supply the superficial structures. Now again, that cortical system is connected to a system of pial vessels. There is a plexus just at the level of the pyometer, okay, to which the cortical system is communicating, and that is also having a short branch and some long branches. Now the central system refers to a system where these branches of these arteries, they will enter inside the substance of the brain, and they will supply the nucleus and the other parts which are lying deep in the cerebral hemispheres. Okay, and these central system are end arteries. They are not having any system of plexus as in cortical system. So if you look at it, just I am showing you, see, these are the areas where the brain is having this cortical system. In the cerebral cortex, these arteries are going and they are supplying like that. Okay, now when these arteries, they penetrate inside the substance of these cerebral hemispheres to supply the underlying structures, then these are known as the central system. Okay, where they perforate. The perforating arteries are the central arteries, and the arteries which are distributed on the surface are the cortical arteries. Okay, so these two are the systems. Basically, there are two set of circulation. One is known as anterior circulation, another is known as the posterior circulation. Now, these two set of circulation, they are responsible for the supply of the brain, the arterial supply. Now the anterior circulation is also known as the internal carotid system, and the posterior circulation will come, we will come to it, that is known as the vertebrovascular system. Now if you see the skull, okay, in the temporal bone there is an area from where the internal carotid artery will enter inside. Okay, that is known as the, anyone? In the temporal bone there is an opening for the carotid artery, the carotid canal. Okay, from where the carotid artery will enter, will travel in the petrous part of the temporal bone. It will take a turn, become horizontal, then it will travel in the area where it traverses the cavernous sinus. Okay, so remember the cavernous sinus. Inside the cavernous sinus there was the, if you remember, there was the internal carotid artery. Almost the whole of the volume of the cavernous sinus is occupied by the internal carotid artery, isn't it? Yes? Okay, so from there the internal carotid artery will again pass up. Okay, now here it will pierce the layers, the coverings of the brain, that is the dura, arachnoid, pia. There are three layers, isn't it? The covering, the meninges of the brain. So here it will pierce the dura, then it will pierce the arachnoid. Okay, and these arteries, they will lie in the subarachnoid space. Okay, in the subarachnoid space, the arteries, they will branch and they will, or basically in the areas where there is collection of the CSF, the cisterns are nothing but the extension of the subarachnoid space, isn't it? Now there only these arteries will lie, and thus they will give the different branches. Now this is how through the internal carotid, through the carotid canal it will enter, it will travel in the petrous part of the temporal bone again, it will travel in front, okay, in the cavernous sinus, again it will pierce the dura mater up, pierce the arachnoid matter, will enter in the subarachnoid space, and there, from there it will begin to give the supply to the brain. So as a whole, the carotid artery is having a cervical part, a petrous part, a cavernous part, and a cerebral part. Now we are concerned over here with the cerebral part, but then again you should know these different parts. Okay, the cervical part which lies in the neck, the petrous part which lies within the petrous part of the temporal bone, the cavernous part where it lies in the cavernous sinus, and the cerebral part we will just see. See, there is, if you are interested, of course, you can see over here the carotid artery. This is the carotid angiogram. Okay, over here you can see the carotid artery is entered. Okay, you won't see any bone and other things. You are only seeing a dye which is injected in the carotid artery, and you are taking a picture like an X-ray. This is known as an angiogram, where the internal carotid is entering inside. It is traveling in the cavernous part of the the cavernous sinus. Okay, then it will be going up and piercing the dura. Okay, then again it will turn back. Okay, now here where it's taking a turning like that, S-shaped, this area is known as the carotid siphon. Okay, this S-shaped is known as the carotid siphon. Okay, now forget the other parts, cervical, petrous, there are different, in the cervical no significant branches, petrous part there are few branches, cavernous part there are 3 branches. In the cerebral part where the artery enters inside, if you want to see again, when the arteries, see here it has entered inside, and now within the, the subarachnoid space, while it is inside the coverings of the brain, inside the brain it will give different branches to the brain. Okay, and these branches are supplying basically the anterior part of the brain, so this is known as the anterior system. Okay, or the internal carotid system. Now it will divide into different branches. Okay, now here you see there is a branch which is coming like that. This is the first branch. Okay, can you see this image in your mobile or computer, wherever? Can you see this image? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first branch coming like that, this is the ophthalmic. This is the ophthalmic artery. Okay, which will supply the eyeball. Okay, this is the first branch. Okay, then there are other branches. Okay, this is the posterior communicating, anterior choroidal, not very much clear over here. Now ultimately, see, you can see in this picture also, this is the ophthalmic branch. This is the ophthalmic branch, and ultimately the internal carotid artery will divide into two. ACA, that means anterior cerebral artery, and MCA, that means middle cerebral artery. Okay, these are the two branches, terminal branches of the internal carotid artery. Now, if you look over here, this is the dissection specimen. Okay, over here you can see this is the internal carotid. Now, we have cut the internal carotid, we have inverted the brain, we are looking it from the ulta, okay, from down. So here you can see the ophthalmic artery already gone in the optic canal. So you can't find the ophthalmic artery over here, it's gone in the it lies in the optic canal. Okay, the second branch which you see over here is the, can you see this branch, this small, this branch, slender branch, this is the posterior communicating artery. Okay, another branch by the side of it, this is the anterior choroidal artery. Okay, this is the anterior choroidal artery, and ultimately this will divide into the internal, see till here this is the internal carotid, this is the most distal part, the most proximal part. This is the distal branching, this is the middle cerebral artery, and this is the anterior cerebral artery. Okay, see again in this picture also you see this is the internal carotid, it was coming like that. Okay, it has given the posterior communicating from here, this is the internal carotid, it has given the posterior communicating, it has given the anterior choroidal artery, then it has went up and it has divided into middle cerebral and anterior cerebral artery. Is that part clear, this part? Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are looking it from upside down, isn't it? So this is what we are seeing, it up is actually down. Okay, this is the internal carotid. So from somewhere it was coming from here somewhere. Okay, proximal part, then distally anterior cerebral artery, middle cerebral. Okay, this is the middle cerebral, this is the anterior cerebral. Okay, so these are the branches of the internal carotid. Again, you see this is the internal carotid of either side. Okay, it has given the posterior communicating, see the posterior communicating on either side are a little different. The big, it is small on this side. This is the anterior choroidal, then it will divide into middle cerebral and anterior cerebral. Okay, now this is the area which I was talking about earlier. This area is the interpedunculaar fossa. Okay, this is the optic nerve, optic chiasma. What is this? Optic tract. Okay, and everything is happening around this optic tract and in the interpedunculaar fossa. Now this area will be lined by the arachnoid. Okay, the artery has already pierced the arachnoid. Now it is lying in the subarachnoid space. That means between the pia and the arachnoid. Okay, and here it will form a circle. Now from posterior you see there is this artery. Can you see this artery from posterior aspect? Anyone? What is this artery? Anyone? Basilar artery. Okay, the basilar artery is coming like that. Okay, it is dividing terminal branches into two. This one, this two. Again, the one from the market is bazaar color ka fir se. Okay, so this is the posterior cerebral. This is the posterior cerebral. Okay, and the posterior communicating is communicating with the posterior cerebral. Again, you see it is communicating with the posterior cerebral. The anterior cerebral arteries are communicated by another small segment which is known as the anterior communicating artery, this small artery over here, and thus it is forming a circle in the interpedunculaar fossa, or you can say in the interpedunculaar cistern in this area. Sorry, this circle which is from over here is known as the, anyone? What is this circle known as? Circle of Willis. Okay, so let us just see how it is formed. Internal carotid artery, given two branches, two terminal branches, anterior cerebral and middle cerebral. This anterior cerebral on either side, they are communicated by a short segmental artery which is known as the anterior communicating artery. Then posteriorly, this posterior communicating artery are communicating the posterior cerebrals on either side, which are the terminal divisions of the basilar artery. Okay, thus this circle is complete. Anterior cerebrals on either side, anterior communicating in the anterior part, in the middle, posteriorly, posterior communicating artery, and in the middle, the proximal part of the posterior cerebrals. Okay, see the posterior cerebrals are like this. So somewhere in between them, the posterior communicating is joining here. So this becomes the proximal part and this becomes the distal part. So this is how the circle of Willis is formed in the interpedunculaire fossa or in the interpedunculaire cistern. Now this is a collateral channel responsible for maintaining the blood flow on either side. If there is any problem in either side of the brain with the supply of the internal carotids on either side, the other side will make a shunt and it will compensate for the blood flow. Okay, so this is the function of the circle of Willis. Let us just see. See, earlier we have discussed there are how many branches of the internal carotid? The cerebral part, ophthalmic. Okay, see the ophthalmic internal carotid artery. As soon as it enters the interpedunculaire fossa, nearby is the optic canal. So in the optic canal, the ophthalmic artery will go. Okay, so when you take out the brain, the ophthalmic artery, it lies within the optic canal, so you can't see that artery over here. Okay, कहीं पे यहाँ पे चला गया वो. Okay, now what is the next branch? The next branch is posterior communicating. So first is ophthalmic, second is the posterior communicating, then the anterior choroidal. Sorry, this has दो बार लिख दिया. The anterior choroidal, the anterior cerebral and middle cerebral. Okay, so let us again just see internal carotid artery. Ophthalmic is gone, you can't see over here. Posterior communicating artery, anterior choroidal artery, middle cerebral artery, anterior cerebral artery. So these are the branches of the internal carotid. Okay. Now if you see again this in this picture. Okay, this is a cut section where we have again cut it, horizontally cut the part of the cerebral hemispheres to see the cortical branches in fact. So this is the internal carotid. This is the anyone? लिखा है यहाँ पे. What is this?
Middle cerebral artery.
Cerebral artery. So we have just cut just above the middle cerebral artery. Then this is the anterior cerebral artery. This is the posterior communicating artery, and to look into the posterior choroidal, you see this is the the anterior choroidal artery. Okay, this is the anterior choroidal artery. Now you see the anterior choroidal artery, it will go and it will supply the choroid plexus of the ventricles. Now if CSF is done, you must be aware of the choroid plexus. What is choroid plexus? Anyone? What is choroid plexus?
In the dural holding.
See, the choroid plexus basically, it is having a communication with these arteries. The arteries will supply this plexus, and from this plexus an ultrafiltrate will come, which is nothing but the cerebrospinal fluid. So basically the choroid plexus is responsible for formation of the CSF in the ventricle. So it invaginates inside the ventricle, from where an ultrafiltrate will seep out, you can say, and it will form the CSF. So there must be some artery which will be supplying the choroid plexus, isn't it? From then only the ultrafiltrate will come out of it. So this artery, the anterior choroidal, so if there is an anterior choroidal, there must be a posterior choroidal also. So these choroidal branches, here the anterior choroidal is from the internal carotid, they will go and supply the choroid plexus. In this case, this will be the lateral ventricle, and this choroid plexus is, on the other hand, it is responsible for formation of the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, is it clear? Now you can see the middle cerebral over here going all throughout. Again, this is the cortical part of the middle cerebral, isn't it? The branches which are running like that, okay, these are the central branches which are going inside and giving the supply to the deeper subcortical nucleus and all. Okay, this is the anterior cerebral, and communicating these two anterior cerebrals are, this is the anterior communicating artery. Now this anterior choroidal artery is also known as the artery of cerebral thrombosis. It is the most common artery which goes under, the cerebral artery which goes under thrombosis. So it's also known as artery of cerebral thrombosis. Okay. Now if you see the anterior cerebral artery, there are different parts. We don't go into details of this. We'll just see there are some branches of anterior cerebral which are central and which are cortical. Okay, the central branches, what they will supply? Anyone? The central branches, what is their function? Anyone? फटाफट बोलो, टाइम कम है, जल्दी खत्म करना है. What are the central branches?
Yes.
They will supply the structures which are deep. That means these central branches, they will dig in, they will penetrate inside the substance of the brain, and they will supply the deeper collection of nuclei and the other structures. Okay. So here, the central branches of the anterior cerebral, they will supply all these structures. Okay. Rostrum. Okay, rostrum is a part of corpus callosum, then septum pellucidum, putamen, this is part of the basal nucleus, caudate nucleus, again is a part of the basal ganglia, and the internal capsule. So these are the areas where the anterior cerebral artery will go in, it will dig in, and it will supply these structures. Okay. Then the cortical branches, there are cortical branches which will lie in the surface, in the cortical surface, the cerebral surface. There are orbital branches, frontal branches, and parietal branches. Just remember these three. Now if you look at, if you look at the, so this is the anterior cerebral, isn't it? On either side, this is the anterior cerebral. Okay, this is the anterior cerebrals. This is the middle cerebral. This small part is the anterior cerebral. Okay. Now, if you look at the, you see the anterior cerebral, it goes like that. This is the median sagittal fissure. Okay, this is the fissure from where we have cut the brain into two. From here, we have cut the brain into two, isn't it? So, if we look at this side, we'll get a section like this. So, the anterior cerebrals, where they lie in the medial aspect. You see this picture again, they lie in the medial aspect. So if you cut over here, look it from this side, you'll find the anterior cerebrals. Okay, you'll find the anterior cerebrals. So this is the anterior cerebral artery. It's having orbital branches over here, frontal branches, and parietal branches. Okay, so basically the anterior cerebral is supplying the medial aspect. Okay, the medial aspect of the cerebrum, both the cerebral hemispheres. There are two anterior cerebrals. They will take care of the either both of the cerebral hemispheres. Okay. Now this is the a small segment which joins the anterior cerebral artery, and this is the anterior communicating artery. Okay, you don't have to worry about all these branches of the anterior communicating artery. Okay, in case just I'll mention, they will supply the optic chiasma, lamina terminalis, hypothalamus, some other areas, fornix, and cingulate gyrus. So these are these branches which are coming down and they will pierce. These are the central branches which will be coming from the anterior communicating artery. Okay, so anterior cerebral is done, anterior communicating is done. Next come to the middle cerebral. Now if you look at over here again, you see the middle cerebral is going laterally. Okay, it's going in the laterally. Now over here, this fissure, anyone, what is this fissure? Anyone in the has it been taken in the brain? There is a fissure which goes laterally. What is this fissure? There are basically two main fissures, isn't it? One is the central fissure, this one, and this is the what fissure? Anyone?
The Sylvian fissure.
फिर से बैकग्राउंड नॉइज आ रहा था. क्या हो रहा है? मैच देख रहा है क्या? आईपीएल? आईपीएल देख रहा लगता है कोई. इंडिया चिल्ला रहा है. Okay, so in the lateral fissure, which is known as the lateral fissure of Sylvius, okay, the artery will go like that. That is the middle cerebral artery, and see it's going all throughout this superolateral surface. So cerebral hemispheres, as I have told earlier, this is the medial surface, okay, and this is the superolateral. It is lying superiorly as well as laterally. So whole of this area is known as the superolateral surface. In the medial surface, it is the anterior cerebral artery which is supplying. In the superolateral surface, you see branches of the middle cerebral artery comes, where it lies in the lateral fissure of Sylvius, and from there it branches and give the supply to the superolateral surface. Okay. So again, you can divide the middle cerebral artery into different parts. We won't go into details. Okay. Now there are some central branches from the middle cerebral artery. See, if the middle cerebral artery will go like that, you better see in the previous picture. you see the middle cerebral artery goes like that. At the same time, while it's giving these cortical branches, it also gives some branches which are going deep inside. Now these branches are known as the central branches. Okay, these are the central branches of the middle cerebral artery. Now it's very important because these central branches mainly give the supply to some white matter, okay, which is carrying the fibers for sensory fibers from the periphery and carrying motor fibers from the brain to the periphery, and this area is a compact area of collection of these fibers, and this is known as the internal capsule. Okay, now this middle cerebral artery, the central the branches are giving supply to the internal capsule. Now one of that artery which is lying most laterally is known as the lenticulostriate branch of the middle cerebral artery. This lenticulostriate branch of the middle cerebral artery is the most common artery which is involved in the cerebral hemorrhage. Same picture you can see, this is the central artery supplying the central branches of the middle cerebral supplying the internal capsule. Most lateral of them is known as the lateral striate artery, and this is known as the Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage. This artery is comparatively less supported, okay, by the adjacent structures. That's why there are more chances of this artery to get involved in cerebrovascular accidents. Okay, so this is known as the Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage. Okay, now if you see the cortical branches of the middle cerebral, again it's going into this is the superior lateral surface, it's going into the Sylvian fissure and giving different branches. There are so many: orbitofrontal, prefrontal, precentral, central, postcentral, okay, angular. Then it also gives some branches to the temporal, anterior temporal, middle temporal, okay, posterior temporal. So these all are the cortical branches of the middle cerebral. You don't have to remember these branches, you just have to know what are the areas of the brain which is supplied by what artery. Okay. Here is it okay? Because now I'm going for the vertebrobasilar system. I have just completed the internal carotid system. Is it okay? Yes? Respond to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is a system of arteries which is, see, this is the anterior circulation, the internal carotids, anterior cerebral, middle cerebral and posterior communicating. Now from posterior aspect, that is from the foramen. यहाँ पे क्या foramen होगा? ये क्या है? ये वाला? What is this structure? What? This is the
Brainstem.
Okay, this is the brainstem. See, the brainstem over somewhere here is the midbrain. This is the pons. This is the medulla. So this is basically the medulla above the C1. Below the C1, we'll call it a spinal cord. So here, another arterial system which will enter through the foramen magnum, okay, which is known as the vertebral artery. Anyone? Vertebral artery is a branch coming up from which artery? Vertebral artery branch from?
So subclavian.
कोई बोल रहा है
Subclavian.
हाँ, अभी
Subclavian.
घर में रह रहे के एक जन बोल रहा है सब कैरोटिड, ऐसा हालत हो गया. Anyway, so the vertebral arteries, they are coming from the subclavian, first part of the subclavian artery. It will ascend up. Okay, it will ascend up. It will combine with each other. Okay, the pontomedullary junction over here to form a central artery which lies in the central part of the pons, and this is known as the basilar artery. Again, the basilar artery will divide terminally into two parts. This is the posterior cerebral. So as a whole, now this system is having communication with the posterior communicating of the internal carotid system. So this system is known as the vertebrobasilar system, or as a whole the posterior circulation. Okay, so we won't go into details of this vertebral artery. Just I'll mention this is the anterior spinal branch of the vertebral. On either side it becomes one. These are the posterior spinal branch. There are some meningeal branch. Posterior inferior cerebral artery, this one, okay, and some medullary branches. So these are branches coming up from the vertebral artery. The same, you see, these are the, okay, this is what? This is the vertebral artery. It's taking a turn in which triangle, it takes a turn, anyone? Somewhere here there is a triangle, suboccipital triangle.
Suboccipital triangle, sir.
Yeah, very nice. So from here, the two of them, they will combine from that side also, so it will form a central artery which is known as the basilar artery. From the basilar artery, it will divide into the two terminal branches. This is the posterior cerebral, okay. From the posterior cerebral, the posterior communicating will communicate through it. This is the internal carotid, this is the, okay, these are the, this is the middle cerebral, okay, this is the internal carotid, this is the middle cerebral, this is the posterior communicating. So somewhere here like that, the circle of Willis is formed. So again, the same thing, you see it's coming from the subclavian, this is the cervical part, isn't it? Now in the suboccipital triangle, it enters inside, pierces the dura, pierces the arachnoid. Again, it has to lie in the subarachnoid space. Now, if you see the basilar artery, it's the same. This is the basilar artery. So the two vertebrals are joining in the pontomedullary junction to form the basilar artery. These are the one vertebral, another one. This is the basilar artery bifurcating to form the posterior cerebral artery. Okay, now what are the branches? First one, these small branches which you are seeing over the surface of the pons, these are known as the pontine branches. Pontine branches, one artery, another one which will go inside the internal acoustic meatus, and this is known as the labyrinthine artery. Okay, third is antero-inferior cerebellar. It will go laterally to supply the cerebellum. Okay, then superior cerebellar, just before it gives its terminal division of posterior cerebral, it gives the superior cerebellar. It's not cerebral, it's cerebellar. So anterior-inferior cerebellar will go and supply the cerebellum, and these also go and it will supply the superior surface of the cerebellum. This is superior cerebellar. So in between the posterior cerebral and the superior cerebellar, there lies the oculomotor nerve. Okay, that's how you can identify the oculomotor nerve. So these are the pontine, labyrinthine, anterior-inferior cerebellar and superior cerebellar, and the terminal branches posterior cerebral. These are the branches of the basilar artery. Okay. Now coming up to the posterior cerebrals. See, these are the posterior cerebrals. This over here, this is the posterior cerebral. Again, you can divide in P1, P2, P3. We won't go into the details of these arteries. We'll just see the central branches. Just remember, see, this is the posterior cerebral. Okay, this is the superior cerebellar going into cerebellum. This is the anterior-inferior cerebellar going to the inferior surface of the cerebellum. This is the posterior cerebral. It's going into cerebrum, not bellum. Okay, so again, see, these are the branches which is going and piercing. So this is the thalamus. So it goes and supplies the thalamus. Okay, similarly, these are the thalamo-geniculate arteries. You don't have to remember this, just have an idea that these are the branches coming up from the different arteries which are going and supply the subcortical areas of brain. Okay, with the same picture, what are the cortical branches? Again, you see, this is the posterior cerebral. There are branches which is going into temporal lobe, anterior and posterior temporal branches. Okay, there are branches which is going into the parieto-occipital lobe, and there are branches which is going into the calcarine sulcus. So as a whole, this is the area which is being supplied by the posterior cerebral. Again, if you remember, this was the anterior cerebral which is supplying the medial surface, isn't it? It is supplying the medial surface. The posterior cerebral is supplying the inferior part of the temporal surface and the posterior pole of the brain. Okay. Now, the circle of Willis, as I have told you, anterior cerebrals, anterior communicating, internal carotids on either side, posterior communicating, and the proximal part of the posterior cerebrals. This form an arterial plexus which is known as the arterial circle of Willis or circulus arteriosus or cerebral arterial circle. There are so many names. Now this lies in the, this may come as a short note, this lie in the interpeduncular cistern or the interpeduncular fossa. Now, this is the collateral root where there is this is a mechanism through which if there is any occlusion of the distal feeding arteries, then there is the maintenance of the collateral circulation. Another thing important over here is that usually the column of the blood in the basilar artery, here in the posterior cerebrals, in the posterior communicating artery, the anterior cerebrals, even the anterior communicating, they lie separately on the right and the left. Okay, now only in case of occlusion of the feeding vessels, I mean, suppose there is an occlusion of the internal carotid over here, then only the supply from the other side will come. So it just acts as a collateral route only in case of occlusive episodes. Okay, otherwise there is the column of the blood maintained on either side, okay, anteroposteriorly as well as the lateral aspect. Okay, these are the center, you don't go have, itna details you don't need. Now let us see the surfaces. Now the superolateral surface supplied by the middle cerebral, this is the Sylvian fissure, okay, supplied by the middle cerebral artery. Okay, except a 2 centimeter area, okay, over here in the superomedial border, okay, this area, some branches of the wait, I'll just show you. See, some branches of the anterior cerebrals from that medial side will come in this 2 centimeter area, okay, and it will supply the superolateral surface, okay. Otherwise, major part of the superolateral surface is supplied by the middle cerebral. Now the posterior cerebrals will supply the occipital pole and some part of the inferior aspect of the temporal area. In the medial surface, maximum is supplied by the anterior cerebrals, okay, because they are going like that, isn't it? Temporal pole is supplied by the middle cerebral, and rest of the posterior surface, even in the posterior part of the medial surface, inferior part of the temporal surface, they are supplied by the posterior cerebral artery. If you see the inferior surface again, the orbital part supplied by the anterior cerebral, the middle cerebral. Over here, since these are the anterior cerebrals, the medial part of the inferior surface supplied by the anterior cerebrals. Posterior part or the inferior surface of the occipital part is supplied by the posterior cerebrals, and again the temporal pole, as we have seen over here, the temporal pole will be supplied by the middle cerebral. Okay, so this is the thing which you should know, which surface supplied by which artery. Okay. Okay, and then the other thalamus, we will have different classes for them. There are watershed areas where the different anterior cerebrals and the middle cerebrals, they will having anastomosis on each other, between each other. These areas are more prone for developing infarcts, okay, because relatively they are having compromised supply. In case of occlusion of any of the vessels, these areas goes under degeneration, or you can say less arterial supply, that is known as infarct. So these areas are known as the watershed areas. You must have, later on you will see in CT scan and all, you will find they use the term watershed areas. That means these are the areas where the different arteries are anastomosing. These are the junctions. Now there is a term which is known as blood-brain barrier. You will have assignment on this. Okay, then blood CSF barrier. Then of course we comes to the venous drainage. So so applied aspects, I'll give you assignment. Any doubts? Any doubts? Anyone, any doubts? Shall I need to repeat anything?
Sir, can you repeat the
Yes.
peduncle fossa?
Interpeduncular fossa. You see, I don't have the slides for today, so otherwise, okay, I'll just try to show you in this. So you just see this picture. Okay, so what is this? this optic nerve, isn't it? Now this optic nerve will cross like that. So optic tract it will form. Okay. On either side, these are the temporal lobes, medial part of the temporal lobe, which is known as the uncus. This is an area where the basilar artery will lie. So this is the pons. Okay. Above the pons, this is the, so brainstem consists of midbrain, pons, medulla, isn't it? So this is that area which is known as the midbrain. Okay, now again if you dissect the midbrain you will get different areas. One of that area is known as the peduncles. So this is one peduncle of midbrain, this is another peduncle. Can you see in this picture? So you see this area, see this is the basilar artery, isn't it? This is the basilar artery. So here this is the pons. Okay, beyond the pons, the basilar artery will divide into the posterior cerebral. So this is the pons. Now just above the pons, this thing, okay, sort of क्या बोलते, collection of fibers. So this is the peduncle of the midbrain. This is another peduncle of the midbrain. So an area which lies in between these two peduncles is known as the interpeduncular fossa. Okay, this is one peduncle, this is another. In between them, this area. So the peduncle is not limited here, it goes like that, it goes like this. So this area is known as the interpeduncular fossa. The circle of Willis will lie over here. Okay, is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, chalo, thank you. Na? I'll give you assignments, be ready with that. Okay, chalo, thank you for today.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.